I had multiple teachers, junior, senior year, just flat out, whether it's me being a clown in class, getting in trouble, just flat out look at me in disgust and just say right to my face, you will never amount to anything in your life. I guarantee it.
Welcome to Hard Reset. This is a podcast exploring life's unexpected turns, what happened, why it happened, and how it shaped the future. Clearly, we have the roofing side of this down, but today we're here to kind of talk about the reset part, and super excited about this episode because we have my good friend Matt on the podcast. And Matt has just this incredible storied career as a sales leader, but also as a really good golfer. And so I'm really excited to hear some of those stories that maybe has started that hard reset in his life. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Let's jump in. Holt, welcome.
Thanks.
So glad you're here, man. How do we know each other?
Well, we first met probably, I'm going to call it 9 years ago in August.
2015. Okay.
I believe. 14, 15. Polo Golf and Country Club. Pro Shop. Friday.
Of course. God's gift to men.
Yes.
Yeah.
You were herding all the cat. Okay. As the commissioner of the league.
Of the greatest
thing of all time that I've ever found.
The greatest Friday game.
Yep.
In all of Atlanta.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah.
And I was a new member, and I was in the shop about to tee off with some buddies, and was asking old Johnny Harris, the pro, hey, he's like, there's the guy. We're walking around the corner, and I introduced myself to you, and you're like, yeah, you just got to call into the shop by 10:30 in the morning, it's, X amount of dollars and, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. And I was like, cool. And I was like, hey, I think I know you from somewhere. And you're like,
everyone says that.
Right. And I just remember being like, and I was like, man, where are you from? And you were like, well, Texas or something. I was like, where'd you go to high school? In Texas? You're like, no, Roswell. And I was like, I'm from Roswell, or I grew up in Roswell. And I was like, we kind of I asked a few questions, and I'm like, RUMC came up, Roswell United Methodist Church, and chaos.
Yeah, and shout out to Malone Dodson, right?
Yes.
The Dodd.
And that's where I kind of, for some reason, there was like something triggered in my head. I was like, I know that guy from somewhere for some reason.
Yeah.
Right. And, so we just kind of, met then, and then from then on out, I joined every single Friday with the rest of the, hooligans, and if you will, and that's kind of where we kind of our relationship started.
Yeah, Yeah, it's funny. You and I are very similar, and we're both like sales guys, right? So we both love people, and we both are not afraid to meet new people. I wish that I had a memory of meeting you at church. Because anytime I meet someone that's like 6'4" and handsome, I'm like, well, I know this guy from somewhere, but did you hit puberty late in life, or?
I don't know. We were in different grades, so maybe we were. I don't remember.
Your class of 2003.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So tell me about your life growing up. Like, what was it like?
Born and raised in Roswell off Holcomb Bridge. Went to Mimosa Elementary.
No way.
Yeah, the Manatees. That was right.
Okay.
Right, Warsaw Road.
No joke. Okay.
Right there.
Yeah.
So born and raised there. Lived there. We watched Mansell Road get carved in. North Point Mall was being built, and I was probably in second grade. That let in just, sirens all night. I mean, it was growing. I mean, it was ambulances and police. And my parents were just like, we're going to get out of here. So yeah, I mean, we moved out to Cherokee County Freehome Elementary,
Starting.
summer 3rd grade.
Okay.
So I'll never forget. We went out there and we were building a house, brand new home in Freehome, right? And
So very wealthy family.
very, yeah. And and I just remember going in for orientation. This was my first, and I'll never forget it, a Freehome Elementary. Okay, this is boondocks.
Yeah.
Cow pastures, chicken coops, everybody's cousins, everybody.
Yeah.
So we walk into the orientation in the cafeteria right through the front door, me, my mom, and my little sister. And I walk in this cafeteria, and my first thing is, I mean, caramba. I mean, it smelled god awful.
Like what it smelled like.
Like manure. I mean, it stunk. Like
Because they're all farmers?
right. So you walk out the playground, the whole playground is surrounded by barbed wire fence and cows. You could literally go to the edge of the playground and like touch the cows. So they're just taking dumps.
Wow.
While you're sliding down a slide. I mean, it was a different world than coming from Roswell.
For sure.
So, coming in and, everybody's related and it's just farmers, I mean, that's what, very rural and more than not, poor, like a lot.
Yeah.
It just was a different world than I was used to. So yeah, we moved in there and, it's, you're a little easy to make friends and stuff like that. But, so yeah, we lived out there.
So you grew up in Cherokee County and you were that close to Fulton County. And where'd you go to high school?
So went to Sequoia High School.
Okay.
Right. Probably 25-minute drive.
Wow.
Right. I mean, it was the only one over there.
Yeah.
That we were districted in. And then, I mean, I could get to Milton High School in about 8 minutes down Hopewell.
Wow.
So, but I had to go to, Sequoia.
Because of the county.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, it was Freehome, Dean Rusk, Middle, and then Sequoia. So
okay. And then after Sequoia, where'd you go?
So graduated Sequoia, went to University of Georgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is where it gets a little. This for me, since I've known you for so long, gets a little confusing because you went to Georgia, right? Mm-hmm. But you were a Georgia Tech fan.
Correct. So, yeah, the old if I had a dollar for every time I talked about this.
Told this story?
Yeah, good grief. I had family, aunts, played softball there, family that graduated from there. My neighbors in Roswell were techies. The Baltuses, yes. Yeah. So I grew up hand-me-downs, tech, going to games, just tech. That's all I knew. Right. So as I got older, I just stayed, a tech loyal fan. And then, obviously, just didn't have anywhere close to the grades to go there, nor, it's a little bit of a different environment. I tried to transfer in a couple times and got deferred due to like my calc scores. Yeah. And I needed to retake.
Cal?
Yeah, just Cal 1, Cal 2. It was really Cal 1. And it just, I barely passed, for the really. So they were like, yeah, you got to have a better grade. And I just was like, man, at this point, I'm so far into school, like with credit hours. Yeah. Does it really make sense to backtrack, try to get better at Cal, keep trying to get better at scores? Are they going to let me in? And meanwhile, I need to be a full-time student. It just didn't make sense.
What were you studying at Georgia?
So went there for, bounced around a little bit. I have a degree in sports management, which is like kinesiology department. So what I wanted to do, sports management, it's technically, I have a Bachelor of Science in Education. Okay. So it's very confusing. Yeah. The sports management degree is 80% of your classes are in Terry College of Business. Okay. So you're taking management 101, then sports management. You're taking marketing 101, then sports business law, then sports law, right? You bounce Terry, sure. But right. So, but due to state funding, they lumped the sports management program, which is probably he was about 10 years old at that point. It was very new. They lumped it into the education department for funding. It was kind of a state funding thing.
Okay.
So I've been trying to change it, but it's more of a business. I've had nothing to do with education at all. But so yeah, it was my idea was I love sports. I wanted to be an athletic director. That was my dream.
At a college, high school?
Yep.
Okay.
At D1, just a university.
Yeah.
Really of any level. Yep, that was my dream. So
do you know why that was your dream?
I love sports. Loved, I was in sales throughout high school, Circuit City, selling computers. I was sold stuff, and I just was sports, and I figured it was my two things I was good at.
Yeah.
And I was interested in, learning more about the business of sports, call that, right?
Yeah.
So internship at UGA for, I think, 3 years, the Athens Regional Foundation Classic, which was back then, it was the web.com tour.
Oh.
Right?
Oh, yes.
We're
going golf.
Yes.
Yeah.
So they had an internship. They had a tournament there, a tour stop in Athens at Jennings Mill Country Club.
Jennings Mill. Is
Yep.
that still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. So I was like either going to wanted to get an athletic department, or I kind of was like, I would love to work for the PGA Tour.
Yeah.
Well, graduated in 2009, market tanked,
Yep.
the crash. Cuts Benedict was out of a job. The tournament.
Cuts was cut.
He was cut. And tournament fizzled. I had nowhere to go,
Yeah.
So.
But you have your degree.
Mm-hmm.
And okay. And so now you just like, hey, I need to become an athletic director.
Yeah, so that's where I ran into a brick wall, is like the job market was so terrible, at that time. It was tough, getting, you think you go to, you have a degree from the University of Georgia. Yeah. Okay. You think it's like a shoe-in.
Yep.
Right. Well, all my, internships and everything was they were SOL. So that was kind of a dead end. So I applied to Atlanta Braves, Hawks, and Falcons. Right. And got interviewed with all of them. Quickly found out that if you're doing like season ticket sales, let's call it, for the Atlanta Braves, or lower level like suite sales, well, you get paid about $25,000 base plus, some commissions, but you're also required to work every home game.
Oh, wow.
So I started doing some quick math.
Yeah, hourly. Yeah, okay, keep going.
The calculations weren't mathing. I was like, this is a lot of work.
Yeah.
And, all in my free time, this is weekends, nights. Do I really want to, this is actually might take away from my passion of sports.
Yep.
Right. And it wasn't my vision on pay and, what you think you should be doing, if you will.
Yeah. Cause as soon as you graduate, you're getting this big time job. You're going to make a big old fat salary. You're going to buy a sports car. Like,
sure.
All the things are
get your own apartment. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it just that's when it really just slapped me in the face. And I was like, okay, maybe the sports world doesn't pay at all. Yeah. And that road would take a long time to move up the ladder.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe that's not where I wanted to go. And especially at the time, I wanted my own job. I wanted my own apartment. I wanted freedom.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of where it just pivoted and went a different direction.
Yeah. So the whole premise of this podcast is do you have a time or a moment in your life that you can look back on where you had to just kind of take this hard reset, where you had to like start over, or, hey, I thought my life was going this way, and all of a sudden I saw how much I was going to get paid if it went this way, and so I needed to reset and go this way. What do you think that was like for you when you graduated college or when you're in high school? Like, tell me a time in the life of Matt Holt.
Yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I always look back and I think we've probably talked about this just, randomly hanging out in the past. I've no stranger telling, friends of mine and backstories, of course. But I think maybe some of the biggest motivation or turning points, in my life is really in high school. You're young, immature. I was cut from the varsity basketball team my junior year, so it'll be my second year. Played varsity my sophomore year, and then they just cut me out of left field, and it was due to I was notorious for skipping workouts, skipping practices, just goofing off.
Yeah.
Right, and I thought that I was, better.
Yeah.
I was just good enough I could just kind of do whatever I want. Yeah. Right. So that was one, which was my dad was a captain of his high school basketball team. So wasn't, he was not too fond of that. You know what I mean?
What was that conversation like?
It wasn't good, but
what's his name? Your dad's name?
Steve.
Yeah.
Steve Holt. And, so there's one kind of a kick to the groin, if you will. And then, at the same time, maybe I was wandering down the wrong path.
Yeah.
And I had multiple teachers, junior, senior year, just flat out, whether it's me being a clown in class, getting in trouble, just flat out look at me in disgust and just say right to my face, you will never amount to anything in your life. I guarantee it. Right. Wow. So that, and then to boot, my grandfather, I think it was after my high school graduation, at my high school graduation party, looked at me, said the same exact thing in front of family.
No way.
Yep. It hurt.
Yeah.
We didn't have a great relationship with my grandpa after that.
Yeah.
Was really, really just angry.
For good reason.
Yeah. So I think at that point, I had a lot of friends, they were just naturally smart, and you could see that they're start on the fast track, right, and school and just doing these things and internships, and they had it going. Well, I'm over here just kind of stuck in the mud a little bit.
Yeah, but you didn't accidentally get into Georgia, like.
Yeah, but it was more of I'm just I lost hope early.
Yeah.
Just not good, and on the verge of just getting yanked out, by my parents.
Yeah.
And I just thought about it, and I was like, do I want to go down like this? Like, maybe they're right. Maybe my teachers are right. Maybe my coaches were right. Maybe my grandpa's right. I'm a failure. I'm going to be a failure. Right. So it took a long, hard look in the mirror. And I just decided I'm not going down like this. Yeah. I'm a winner.
So was that conversation, was that conversation with yourself, like looking in the mirror? And was it like right after your granddad said that to you?
Yeah.
And you went off to college and you were like, chip on your shoulder?
It took a couple years, right? But it finally hit when people started to getting into like Terry College of Business, get into their schools, and I'm just like waffling with bad GPA, not really doing much, no direction, no sense of urgency, and I just made a decision, flipped the switch, and hey, like I'm gonna catch up to them. I'm not going down like this. Like I'm a winner.
Yeah.
So. Had to take that. It was kind of like it's a hard reset. Yeah. Just look in the mirror. Like, do you want to be successful in life? Do you want to make your parents proud? Do you want to be, a successful amongst your peers? Do you want to stand out amongst your peers? And I just made that decision, and I just put my head down from then on out, grinded it out, got, worked throughout college.
So you did school and work.
School and work.
Where'd you work? The web.com thing?
Yep.
Right?
So I did that. That was internship, unpaid internship. So I worked at a car wash It's a auto detailing place in Watkinsville, Georgia.
Yeah.
Of that's where all the rich people live now.
Oh, that's why we're working at the car wash.
Yeah,
So it'd be like working in Milton right now.
Yeah, kind of. Right. So I did that and actually ran we had like a small pop-up inside the Hayward Allen Toyota dealership in Athens. So they contracted us to clean all their cars, the cars coming from the wholesale trucks.
While you're in college.
Yep. So I usually worked 3-4 days a week, took classes on the other days,
Good for you.
Yeah, man. So,
all right. So you're working at cleaning cars. Is that the only job other than the other?
Yeah, I mean, I did the internship and really worked there detailing cars, for the majority of the time. I mean, I held a job, my first year in Athens, it's called Dial America. And if anybody went to UGA, shout out to Dial America, okay? It was, golly, I forget which street it was on, but I think it was right next to like the Blind Pig in Athens, an old establishment.
Yeah.
And it was a big warehouse where it was like Smile and Dial, telemarketing. Yeah. So, but it was brutal. I mean, you had the whole rebuttal sheet. You just clicked a button. They said no. And it was like, and it just told you just read off. Like, I mean, it was like automatic, dude, but the bad thing is you mandatory Saturday work.
Oh,
mandatory football. So there was a lot of early missed some classic doozies, which
all right.
that
So
didn't last long. Yeah.
So what are you trying to sell at this moment?
I forget what it was. It was like, it's like, dude, it's like extended warranties. Like, yeah, it was like shisty stuff, dude, and it was like a script. I mean, 100 robo dials, 100 a day. Wild.
Manager walking around. You have a headset. You're just
that didn't last long. I worked at a liquor store for a little while.
Yeah.
That
for the
was
discounts.
That was awful.
Did you get any discounts?
No.
That's a shame.
No.
Okay, so now fast forward, you've graduated. You realize that you don't want to sell tickets because you don't want to make $6 an hour with a college degree. I know that you have this storied history of a sales career, so much so that you've really talked to some of the people that I have here and kind of inspired them. So walk me through your a little bit of your
So
where you're at now.
Right. So 2009, no job.
Yeah.
Had to get a job. Right. Only person immediately that I could just get employed with was it's a pyramid scheme, B2B sales. They were based out of Swanee, Georgia. Okay. Had this little brick and mortar commercial space.
Yeah.
We were selling, they had the license for selling Braves tickets. They were like the packs. You ever seen, the packs where it's like $30, you get 10 tickets.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And a corn dog.
Yeah. Right. You know what I mean? So that we sold like, Jiffy Lube, like oil change packs. There was a couple others, Thrashers, when they were like still there. It was like right at the end of that, I believe. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So they would literally circle on a whiteboard map, like, hey, you're in here. Show up to the office in the morning, rah, like everybody chant, this is nonsense. Then they would literally, you would drive out or somebody would drop you off on like a corner, like Satellite and Steve Reynolds. Mm-hmm. This is all of these businesses, there's plenty doors to walk in and knock on and call on.
Way.
We'll be back to get you around 4:30.
No way.
Yep.
You have like a satchel and it's just shoved with Jiffy Lubes?
Yeah, dude.
No way.
Yeah, suit and tie. We're required to wear a tie. Wild. Summertime, wild.
Hot.
Yeah. So I'm hoofing it. Hey, no soliciting. Get the out of here.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to call the I mean, it was wild. But for some reason, I became good at it. I was only there for probably 6 months. Trying to find another, let's call it real job.
Yeah.
And I mean, I won their, it's called, I think it called it a Top Gun winner. Like most sales, I was only there 6 months for a full calendar year. So I crushed it there.
Yeah.
Got a phone call randomly as I was searching for a real job. I got called from AT&T Real Yellow Pages.
Yes.
The dinosaur.
The
phone books.
Yeah, the phone books, and it was really yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the AT&T Real Yellow Pages,
Not the pretend yellow pages.
No, not the yellow book.
Yeah.
Right? There's a big difference.
There's a huge difference.
You know what I mean?
Sales guy. Yeah.
So they call me and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. This is kind of corny. Like, y'all are still around. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who uses that?
I mean, dude, 2008, it's like the .coms are coming in, Google's around.
It was right at the merge, like at the end of those. So, but the enticing thing is they were like, hey, we're going to give you like 40 grand base salary, full benefits. There's a pension. It gave me like a $600 car allowance.
You're rich.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, don't mind me.
Yeah.
I mean, this was like, when you think about sales and whatever your vision, car allowances and a per diem for customers. And like, I was like, man, let's give it a run.
Yeah.
Right. So got into doing that. And, and this was outside territory sales, driving around. And unfortunately, with my sweet wife in my car, my now sweet wife, then girlfriend, was just starting dating, took her out for her birthday one night, got pulled over by the Nighthawks in Buckhead.
Yeah.
On the way back to her apartment, and got thrown in the clink for drinking and driving.
Yeah.
Well, that
corporate America is probably a little bit against that, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So they could no longer insure me on the road. So I was either fired or you can go to the inside sales division.
Okay. Here's a hard reset. Yeah.
Another one. And I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I mean, why me?
Yeah. Like, don't.
So I was like, all right. So I went in here, and this is Smile and Dial. I mean,
you're brought back to
Dial
college,
America.
Yeah.
But this was more free form. You're managing. So they would assign you like, let's call it Valdosta, Georgia book. There'd be like 5 of us. Right. But we're calling all these advertisers, local businesses in Valdosta.
So you'd call the roofer. Can you remember the script?
No, there's no script.
Oh.
You weren't given any scripts or anything. You were just, docked with a book of business, and you needed to grow that business however you saw fit. Right.
And you're selling like bigger pages in the yellow pages.
So the inside sales was the lower level dollar amounts. Right. Outside sales was handled face to face.
Okay.
Right, higher spend customers.
Yep.
So these were they'd have like little tiny ads or, a presence online, or maybe we built them on like a mobile platform app, or something like mobile website or something like that. But so got into that. I had backs against the wall again. I mean, I had to, I'm like, listen,
I can't do inside sales.
Sink or swim. I didn't want. This is not where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah.
Put my head down and won back-to-back President's Clubs while I sorted through my
no way
DUI. Yep, went to Pelican Hill, California resort, went to Bahamas, and then went to I think Cancun.
So you were the guy.
It was great. I mean, I was just naturally good at it.
Yeah,
and I learned a lot of. I learned probably it is the most basic fundamentals, like the pillars of sales every salesman needs in that job.
Which is,
basic stuff, mirroring your customer, right? It's effort. I mean, it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
Right. If the guy makes 50 calls a day for 5 days a week,
that's 250,
right?
Yep.
Times 4, it's 1,000 calls a month. Well, if I make 100 calls a day, right, I got 2,000 calls at the end of the month. I am 2 times more likely to close business than the other guy, right? It is just basic math.
Yeah.
It's pure effort. Doesn't take any skill.
Yeah.
Right. It's effort.
Yeah.
Right. And want to. So a lot of those things of mirroring your customer, how to change your cadence, learning how to get to decision makers, how to get past gatekeepers, especially on the telephone. You got 5 seconds.
Yeah. Before it's
Click. Yep.
So well, like, all right, somebody's just new starting out in their sales career, and they're like every time the 5 seconds it's click on them. Like, what advice do you give that person to say, like, hey man, if you try this?
Well, I always believe that pushy sales is not good sales.
Yep.
I've never. Some people are good at it. I wholeheartedly disagree with it.
Yeah.
Okay. You're not for the long haul. Okay. Number 2, it's your tone. You got to act like you're the man. Like, firm, speak up.
Yep.
Right. Ask for what you want. Right. Is Tracy available? No. Click.
Yep.
Is she available? Like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
Right.
Of course she's not available.
Right.
She's working.
Right. You pretty much say, I'm calling to speak with Tracy.
It's Matt. I'm calling Tracy back.
Calling to speak to Tracy. Or, we've been playing a little bit of phone tag, following up with Tracy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not a question. It's a, I need to speak.
Yep.
Right. You're more apt to get what you want by doing that.
Yep.
Right. So it's also, it's learning how to get past gatekeepers with some verbiage. I mean, you don't have to lie, right? But you can also, I used to do, when I got really good, I figured out when I would call in and, you get hung up on, or when a customer was like, who are you, you little pipsqueak, another one of you,
Yeah.
It's like, I used to kind of fib my title, right? I was just a sales guy.
Yep.
Right? Account manager. Well, I would say, hey, it's Matt. I'm in charge of the Valdosta, Georgia Yellow Pages, and I'm reaching out to you. You got a few minutes?
I'm the guy.
Right? You didn't lie.
Because you are in charge.
I'm in charge of my book, which is you, Mr. Customer, right? Or I am overseeing the Valdosta Real Yellow Pages upcoming print, right? Or your advertising campaign.
Yep.
Now you got okay. We just wanted to reach out and thank you for your business. Listen, I know you're a busy guy. Is now okay real quick, or I'd love to just set an appointment at your time, right?
And
at your
that
convenience.
Company card or
no, this is over the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's just hey, number one, I'm in charge, right? You're straight to the point, and you're being you're not inconveniencing them. Because they would probably get how many, solicitation calls every day, right? So you got to stand out, get through the gatekeeper, and then at the end of the day, like, you cut to the chase. Be truthful with them. Like, listen, you're wasting your money here.
Yeah.
This is where we're going. Listen, I'm not going to give you an extravagant pitch.
Yeah.
If you want to learn some more about some opportunities that I can, deliver, results for you, or returns for your your advertising dollars, that makes sense. But here's what my proposal to you. Like, let's walk through it. Or do you want to does anybody else need to be in on this conversation to make the decisions?
Yeah. Oh, so let me switch gears on you then and ask you this question. Because I'm fascinated by your athletic ability. And I think the people that are watching this want to know about your golf career, your amateur golf career, right? So what's your favorite golf course that you've ever played?
Oof. I think I would say what is it? Hilton Head, where they have the RBC.
Yeah.
What is it?
Heritage, the RBC Heritage, right?
Yes, it's the Sea Pines is a community, right? It's
one of our buddies' little son.
It's the Light Tower course. What is it?
It's after the Masters, right?
Yep.
You get the
Harbortown.
So
I played Harbortown like 3-4 times.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's precision golf though. It's very tight, right?
Right. Donald Ross.
That's your guy.
Right. I think is it Donald Ross or Pete Dye? I think it's a Dye track.
Okay.
Pete Dye track. Yes, Pete Dye track, because he's got the little tiny pothole bunkers. Short, quirky. It's a shot maker's course, and I just love carving it around corners.
Yeah.
It's true golf. It's not, hit it as far as you can and just point and shoot. I mean, it is literally like you got to place the ball here. To be in position to score here. You got to miss here to get here.
Would it be safe to say that Matt Holt is the Bubba Watson of Forsyth County? I mean, would that be safe?
Left or right, sure. I can bend it the other way, but listen, work's getting in the way. My game is, oof. I mean, as I've heard, we've played together. It's, mine's there too, buddy.
No
it's not
time
good.
to practice.
No.
I'm playing golf on Friday, and it's not going to be good. Well, maybe it will be. You never know. What's your lowest round?
Lowest round. So I will say this. Lowest round's all relative. Okay. So for number wise, it is 64. Okay.
Okay, hold on. 60. Okay. Hold on. Let's sit in this for a second. Okay, you shot a 64 on a par 72.
Par 71.
Par 71. Okay.
Hampton Golf Village, white tees.
Okay.
So that's the low number. You asked for the number.
Dude, there's no shame.
Nope.
No shame in white tees
60,
at all.
No, 64.
Yeah.
Right.
I'd take an 84 from the white tees right now.
Yep. So 64, I would say that's the low number, right? I've shot, I think, polo 65 twice.
It's unbelievable.
Just blue tees. I would say my best round ever. I consider it I got 1A, 1B. 1A is Oak Hill East, Rochester, New York.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have it's like a little nut as their
little acorn.
Acorn nut, yeah.
Right? Because these oak trees are 100-year-old oaks. I mean, gigantic throughout the whole property. Shout out to Mark 6 Hour.
Yeah, 6
for taking me up there and being a host. But we played the East course, which is their championship course, home of many I think multiple 2-3 Ryder Cups, PGAs, US Opens.
Yep.
I shot from the way back tippy tips. It's like to par 70, about 7,600 yards, 7,700 yards.
Wow. The average golf course is typically like 6,500, right?
Probably.
Yeah. So it's an extra 1,100.
Yep. Shot 74. That's 4 over. And my caddy, to this, I'll never forget it. He was just, I mean, his jaw was on the floor. Even mine was. I bogeyed the last 3 holes to get to 4 over.
No way.
It was it was a day. Yeah, it was one of the best. It wasn't any, I mean, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. I know you could understand playing, difficult championship tracks.
Yeah.
But if you've never played 7,600 yards, pars, it is wild. Okay. I mean, it gives you a really good.
Well, why am I doing this like in the middle of it?
Yeah, well, you're sitting there and you're like, you have this appreciation for the pros. You're like, I can't go any lower.
Yeah.
Like I can't do it. It's how do they shoot 64 from the same, so that's probably my best one. Still have the scorecard in my office. And then my second one, I was with you. Remember, East Lake. It was me, you, Lovins. Who's commercial heating and air boy?
Rainwater.
Rainwater. Yeah, that was us 4.
This podcast is sponsored by McHenry.
Something mechanical.
Oh, it's something mechanical. Yeah. I don't know. They have an East Lake membership. They don't need the sponsorship.
So we went. He booked a tee time for us. It was the Friday before the Tour Championship week. It was the last tee time you could get. Because we were like, we want to play the conditions.
Yeah.
And Rainwater's like, I gotcha.
Yeah.
So we booked this tee time and we go out there and it's like literally we're one of the last tee times. Like it was maybe a Thursday because they weren't allowing any play. So they had the tips, roped off, right, and stuff. But that rough was so deep. Greens were so firm and fast. I remember going out there and I shot I think it was a 2 under 70 from the blue, because the blue tees are 72 there, or they were 2 under 72, and I had, I think, four birdies and 1 double bogey, and my only double bogey is I missed the fairway.
Oh, and you can't miss the fairway at East Lake. It's like impossible to get up and down.
If you recall, we had 2 four caddies and 4 of us. We missed the fairway. It was a full-on manhunt.
Yeah.
Like 1 ball at a time, and you had to almost stand on top of the ball to find. I mean, it was ridiculous.
And it's wedge out. Like you can't. You're not hitting 8 irons and 9 irons out of it.
It was crazy. But that would, I would say, this is just my personal, like, I don't, I couldn't play much better.
Yeah.
Like, it was just outstanding golf.
Yeah.
To post those numbers.
A 70 at East Lake is. I was thinking that you were going to go down the Atlanta National route, because every time in the past that I have been with you that you've played Atlanta National, it has been 60 something, which is unbelievable.
So that's funny. So it's another Pete Dye. So it's a Pete Dye design.
Yep.
Same with Harbortown.
Yep.
I love something to my eyeball about Pete Dye courses. There's something how the dog legs, and you don't need to hit driver off of tees.
Yeah.
It requires 3 woods or hybrids to get into position for an extremely difficult iron shot into a treacherous green, right? And it demands iron play, and
focus
and being creative. But yeah, we used to do those playaways. Remember those playaways and stuff like that?
Not to talk about me, but I vividly remember you shot 67 that day. We got done playing golf and we were sitting around just reminiscing and talking, and I was like, man, you've got to tell me what it feels like to shoot in the 60s. Like, to me, that would be like the pinnacle. And I was like, do you just feel like you're in the zone? And you're just like, dude, I'm just playing golf. Like, I don't feel like anything. And then all of a sudden it's like, man, I had 6 birdies. I shot 67. And I was like, dude, if I ever get that. Well, fast forward like 10 days later.
I was about to ask you.
We are playing golf. It's me, you, Bobby, the booty hole.
Yes. The butcher.
The butcher. And who's our 4th? Is it
oh man,
is it T-Roy?
I think it was T-Roy. It was T-Roy. He was in my cart. I think he was in my cart. No, I think you were in my cart. I forget.
I was definitely in your cart because you walked me through. So I shot 38 on the front and punch greens, and we went to the back, and all of a sudden started making a couple birdies, and we got to 17. And you're like, hey, we're not thinking about anything that's going on. We're just trying to make par here. And I made one of the greatest pars up and downs of my life on 17. We go to 18, and I just hit one straight down the middle. And the flag was tucked right, and you came up to me, and you go, Shep, we are not doing anything with that flag stick. We are going straight center of the green. We're going to 2-putt this. We're going to go on with our lives. Well, something happened, and
you fanned one out right. Blocked it. I was like, no.
It's going right at the lake, but I had my aim point was so wrong that as it fell back, it went like 10 feet to the flagstick, drained it, shot 68, 38, 30, dropped the putter, and you guys chased me around the green. It was like one of the greatest. It was great. It was the greatest sports moment I've ever had to be 4 under on a golf course.
Does 6 under on the back, 38, 30. 30 on the back at Polo is wild in itself. I mean, come on.
It is wild. It is the harder of the 2 nines.
You know?
Yeah. So I wanted to kind of maybe, kind of close with this. So you had this like hard reset moment where your granddad and the teachers, they're all out to get you, right? It feels like that. And maybe some of it is in good reason, right? Maybe you're a little bit of a Hellcat, like me. What would you tell someone that's about to is either in this hard reset moment in their life or about to go into it? what would you tell them? Like, what did you learn? I would say, what did you learn in that hard reset moment about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I truly believe, there's multiple routes and and you can take in life to get where you want to go, right? Period. I mean, there are decisions you make on a daily basis that change the course, the direction of where you're going,
Yep.
right? And as somebody either young or now in middle age, you're in your 40s, career change or, it's really, focusing, you having a game plan, right? It's mind over matter, right? I'm not going to fail, right? And sometimes things come faster than others,
Yep.
right? And there's nothing wrong with, for it to, come longer to you, right? It's, I guess the thrill of the chase, right? It's building, building those blocks to get where you want to go.
Yeah.
Right. And, I went through that and, it's just, at the end of the day, you're every day, it's, I have this kind of saying, I still say it to this day to customers, friends, like, how you been, Matt? Man, I'm just trying to make it to the pillow. Like, right. I'm gonna wake up and we're going to try it all over again. Right. It doesn't matter how bad today is, how bad your luck, how many no's you got,
Yep.
right? How many times you got kicked, you got bad breaks, bad luck, right? The world's against you. Tomorrow's a new day, right? And nobody cares what happened yesterday, only but you,
Yeah.
right? So if you can somehow learn to rinse that out of your brain and wake up with a positive energy, and you have still that goals right in front of you. So every day you're building, whether it's you're stacking small wins every day, every hour, right? One after another. It could take weeks, months, years. And that just, it's kind of natural. That's why I say sales and life is they're very similar, right? On, just you kind of being your best self, right? If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And just finding wins. Like, hey, I did a good deed for a lady. I held it at the door at Publix.
Yeah.
Like, what a terrible, but you had a terrible day.
Yeah.
Well, like, listen, that's good karma. You did one good thing.
That's a win.
It's a win, right? And then we're gonna wake up tomorrow. Yeah. We're gonna get another win. And we're gonna get 2 wins today. Like, and it's just putting your head down and not being denied. Like,
Yep. So what advice do you give to that guy or girl that's maybe thinking about getting into a sales career and they're scared and they don't know if they're built for this? Like, what advice would you give that person? Like, why should you go into a sales career?
Well, it's really, I think in some aspects it helps with just your life in general. It teaches you, the roller coasters, right? Self-doubt and preservation and hard work, determination, right? Not everything's going to go your way. If you want, I love it for freedom at the end of the day.
Yep.
And I dictate how my day is going to go, not a punch clock.
Yep.
Not some corporate, entity.
Right.
Right. It is truly performance based. And the only person that can control performance is you. Right. So unlimited, right. Earnings, technically. And you get to decide how your day is going to go based on, your efforts.
Your attitude and your effort.
Attitude and effort. Right. And I think it helped me just, it took a long time, but it's helped me mature over time. And that's all relative. I'm very immature. Let's be real, but, if you want it and you want to change your life, I've told you this. I think anybody can be good at sales.
Yeah.
Anybody. Now, good or great or good, really good is all relative.
Yep.
Right. you're either born with a knack for, you're either wordsmith, or you have a natural like energy of like, building rapport with people. The people are attracted to you.
Yep.
There's a lot of qualities, in great salespeople, right? Or good salespeople. But, if you're an introvert, you don't like talking to people, you're not outgoing, I could teach them to be good.
Yep.
Which just is period waking up and getting to work. Right? It's an effort thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just getting after it.
Yep.
Yeah. Would you recommend someone that has a lot of self-doubt to do a job like this?
Yeah. I mean, I would, because, where are they coming from, and what's making them come into to jump? I think the biggest thing is you've made the biggest step, is the decision to make the change. That is by far, that's half the battle.
Yeah.
So just making that leap of faith, if you have a lot of self-doubt, I have self-doubt, and it's every day, you're providing for your family, you're trying to make your business hum and be successful, right? Or you have employees to take care of, you have a family, I don't want to fail if it's not an option, right? So, self-doubt, I think it would kind of help them to kind of rid of if it's naturally in you, just by those, you get in, you start getting to work, you see wins, successes. I can do this, builds confidence, right? Builds a lot of good traits, probably, gets rid of just natural self-doubt. It probably goes in the opposite direction, To
get out and get after it.
Yeah.
Thank you
for man.
Taking the time.
Love it.
And being on here. I think there was a lot of good advice that you've given, some good golf advice, but also sales and life advice.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you making the time.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, brother, man.
Yeah. Till the next time.
Yep. To the next episode.
All right. So now you know Matt a little bit better. He is just an awesome guy and clearly has a great laugh and a lot of knowledge on what it means to be a sales guy. So thank you, Matt, for taking the time. Obviously, we're here because we're a roofing company first. So if you know someone that is in need of a new roof, or that might need a repair, or maybe they have some issues with a tree hitting their house or need new gutters, we kind of service everything on the exterior of the home. We'd love to be that connection for them. So you can get our contact information below. If not, we can't wait to see you on the next episode.